Welcome to the In Love with PMDD podcast. I am your host, Dr. Rose, your PMDD relationship psychotraumatologist. Before you ask what PMDD is, it is premenstrual dysphoric disorder. And if you're listening to this podcast, maybe you have PMDD or your partner has PMDD. It doesn't matter. I work with both individuals. And what I do is I give you my strategic trauma transformational tools that help you stop the monthly PMDD breakups, get rid of the stress, the arguing, and the fighting within your luteal phase and every other phase of your cycle. You are not alone in this. I have personally been suffering with premenstrual dysphoric disorder for over 19 years, and I'm here to give you tools on how to stop the monthly PMDD breakups. We got this. I love you. So today we're going to be talking about taking your power back when you are in an abusive PMDD relationship. And the reason why I wanted to talk about this, we talked about breakups, we talked about detachment, and now we're going into taking your power back when you're on the other side of recognizing there are things that are going on in my PMDD relationship that are not right, that are less than what I deserve, that are downright abusive. And I mean this for the partner that has PMDD and the partner that doesn't have PMDD. And I've had to do this a couple of times within my journey. And I counsel a lot of individuals with this. And it's really hard when you're in a PMDD relationship for both aspects. I'm going to try to go into both realms, one for the partner who has premenstrual dysphoric disorder and one for the partner that does not. But I'm going to start off with my own journey. And then, so obviously we're going to talk about the PMDD sufferer. And then maybe next episode, I'll talk about the partner. I like to try to break that up for you so you can really, I believe that if you're an individual that has PMDD or you're in a PMDD relationship, both, you should be listening to the perspective of both in order to understand yourself better and understand your partner better. But for me, I think that I am, and I'm coming out of something right now, which is, am I going to cry? It's like, it's very emotional for me because I'm in it, but a lot of times when I'm in the middle of going through anything, I like to share it with you because I get the bulk of my tools through lived experiences, right? If you've read my dissertation, it is on the lived experiences of PMDD partner. It is not on, what people have speculated or what people think that PMDD partners or PMDD sufferers have gone through. It's what we actually go through. And I interviewed hundreds of PMDD partners and PMDD sufferers, and I developed my tools based off of what they told me that they were going through. It's called a phenomenological study because it's based on your life experience. So I had a recent client that's a new client, and they were saying one of the reasons why they decided to work with me as opposed to other counselors was because I was very open about my journey, and they had never heard of someone being so transparent about their personal life, their personal journey with anything that they're going on. You kind of go into, when you want to get therapy, you look at their resume, you look at what they say that they specialize in. And I've been in that place where I've been disappointed where individuals say that they specialize in something and they're just saying it because they read an article on it. And then all of a sudden, because they have a title, they're like, oh yeah, I specialize in this. And I will always tell you, you can't specialize in premenstrual dysphoric disorder if you've never suffered with it, if you've never been in a PMDD relationship. You can know about it and you can absolutely advocate for it, but you cannot specialize in it. You can't have all of the tools because you haven't been to those places. And I don't just mean the places of having premenstrual dysphoric disorder. I mean the places of talking to partners that are suffering with this and trying to decide what to do and having to come up with tools and solutions. And so I want to talk about my lived experience first and foremost with having to take my power back when I really recognized not only was I in an abusive relationship, I noticed a pattern of abusive relationships. And a lot of that has to do with my past trauma. And sometimes I can get to a point where it's like, this is getting old, right? You know what I mean? Like talking about what I've gone through in the past and really feeling like I should be over this. I should be past it. This shouldn't still be impacting me, but it does. And I'm not claiming my PMDD or my trauma as a label or an identity, but I have to recognize that it does have an impact on me and on my life. Otherwise, I would get in a state of avoidance, which is something I always tell my clients not to do. When you notice a pattern that's going on in your relationship, in your life, you need to pay attention to that, because what happens is, because of my lived experiences, I've had to put certain things into place to protect myself. And do I always do it correctly? Absolutely not. I still to this day have not mastered protecting myself. Otherwise, I wouldn't find myself in these situations. But it's all, my pain is always used for a purpose. So I remember I was at church earlier today and I was just like, why do I keep going through all of this? But what happens is, when I do go through all of this in relationships, I really develop the most amazing tools, because not only do I have the ability to pull someone else out of things that they're going through, I also have to pull myself out. And I had to do that recently. And it was hard for me because I think I still have these rose-colored glasses on when it comes to love, when it comes to relationships, even though I have been anything that you can think of. I've been cheated on, I've been lied to, I've been robbed by partners, I've been manipulated, I've been with narcissists. Like, it's almost like, I was telling my friend the other day, like, if you mention one other kind of thing that's horrible, I hope I don't just like call it in, because I feel like I've gone down the ringer of all the things. And it's not because I've been out in these streets, trying to like live my best life with these people. I've gotten into committed relationships. I've been married twice. I've tried to do this the way that I envision, and it hasn't always worked out in my favor. And I've had to endure a lot. And I take full responsibility, because I invite every individual that's in my life. I'm not blaming them. I'm not blaming the situation. I just know that when it comes to relationships, I have the propensity to attract a lot of abusive partners. And what I mean by that is verbally abusive, not really physically. I wouldn't say physically, thank goodness. And I'm not like calling that in, but when it comes to verbal abuse and talking, strongly, like with a lot of cursing and a lot of fighting and a lot of that, I have the propensity to attract that, because I am someone that values a peaceful environment. And so a lot of times when you think about what the other person would want, if they want peace, I would say, when you have something, you're going to be attracted to people who have the opposite. And you need to recognize that. If I'm a person that values peace and I have a peaceful environment, then obviously a person with chaos and confusion is going to want to have refuge and be with someone like me, like, oh, she's a good person. And I never was like, wow, like, since when did being a good person mean that I was more susceptible to verbal abuse? I would just say verbal, because I haven't really had physical abuse. And I don't want to like misinterpret what that is, because that's not my lived journey. I've had a lot of verbal abuse in childhood, and then this stemmed into relationships, and a lot of manipulation, and not a lot of narcissists. And so I remember my friend saying, like, why are they so attracted to you? Like, I feel like it's like a different person and you're going through similar situations. And I think that when I get into a relationship, especially with having premenstrual dysphoric disorder, I am very well versed in really just wanting to understand the individual. I didn't even know until I went to go have counseling myself with my psychotherapist, that she was like, "Oh, so you're a people pleaser." And I'm like, "I'm a what?" I didn't recognize that. And this is the beauty in having counselors and therapists, is because they call you out on things that you can't see in yourself. And so many of my people are like, my clients are like, "Can't you see that? Or wouldn't you know that?" And I can't counsel myself. Obviously that would be great. I can't do what I do for other people. I can't do it for myself. You know how they say hindsight is 2020. And so I got into this relationship, and I began my people pleasing. I immediately went into, what do they want? What do they like? What works better for their schedule? I took the attention and the focus off of me, and I put it on them. And I did that because in my mind, a relationship is two people doing that. I've always thought that. I've always thought that if you decide to be connected with someone, if both of you just try to put the other person first, put their needs first, kind of like having that kind of unconditional love, then neither one of you are going to be lacking because you're both trying to provide a strong and healthy environment for the other person. So how can it ever go wrong if I'm always thinking about what is it that you need? What is it that you want? What is it that you desire? How can I please you? And not in a way that I'm like not pleasing myself, but just taking you into consideration. Because when I'm single, I live a very individualistic life when it comes to other adults. Like, yes, I have a daughter. Yes, I have a dog. But when it comes to my time, all the focus is on me. And so I know when I'm in a relationship or even dating, I have to consciously, okay, I can't just get up in the morning and not check my phone, or I can't just get up, and during the day and just totally focus on me. I have to like look at their schedule. What are the times in the day that they like to be communicated with? Like I'm very accommodating, right? And I'm very nice and I'm very sweet and I'm very loving and it's all very authentic. That's just the core of who I am. It doesn't take a lot of effort for me to be that way. I'm just a very loving person. I was meeting up with a couple clients and they're just like, oh my gosh, how I imagined that you would be from listening to you for over the past couple of years and then seeing you in person, you're the same way. You're just so loving and you just feel, what did they say? That this feels like the best therapeutic environment because you're just loving and kind and sweet and nice and fun and all of these things. And I just, you feel that energy. It's it's a thing, right? You can feel someone's energy. I always say you can feel someone's energy before you even see them, before you even talk to them. Like, regardless of what someone says, if I come into their presence, like I can feel their energy. And so that's just the core of who I am. And so I think when you get into these relationships or you're dating or you're getting to know people, I'm always assuming the best of people. That's another trait that I have. I just assume the best. And what that means is I make a lot of excuses for the red flags. I make a lot of excuses for behavior that is less than what I deserve. And I'm admitting to this because I know that I've lived a long life where I've been in, traumatic situations and it's impacted how I show up. And so I really don't like blaming people. I don't like shaming them. I don't like criticizing them. I don't like any of that. I kind of like accepting people for where they are. Like, I'll love you for where you are, and then we can go from there. Like, I don't put this persona that you have to be a certain way. But I think when someone gets into a relationship or connection with me, romantically, they feel the need to be a different version of themselves. I have noticed a common thread of they start comparing like it's like, oh, you're, especially after I became a doctor. Like I was like, I'm literally the same person that I was before, but like everyone, there's some people that just treat me differently. And so it's made dating like really, really hard because it's like, oh, you're a doctor and you've done this career for over 20 years. And oh, you have a daughter and you've been like a single mom and oh, you have a dog. Like they're looking at all of these things. And I'm like, why are you comparing? Like, I just think I don't have that comparison mindset. I just take people for where they are in their life and I can find value in I've hired people that don't have an associate's degree. I've paid hundreds of dollars to people during my journey that don't have a degree. For me, it's not about the degree. It's about the lived experience. It's about the discernment that you have on your life. It's an energy I can feel when I know that I'm about to work with someone that's going to be able to help me. And I'm not looking at accolades because I know, and maybe you've been in the same place where you have gone to doctors and gynecologists and specialists that are like, oh, I'm the best and I'm supposed to be the best at this. And then you go to talk to them and you're educating them more about PMDD than they know. And you're like, well, what was the point of this? Like, you should actually pay me because you didn't know anything about my condition. So when people start to treat me differently and feel like that they need to be a different version of themselves, it's really like it's a pain point for me because I feel like that's when people take a turn and they start acting out of character. And I don't like that for them. I don't love that for them. And so I get into this people pleasing mode of kind of like telling them, it's okay. You don't have to do this and you don't have to do that. Cause I'm trying to be comforting in a way of like, you don't have to be a certain way in order to be with me. You have to be yourself. and then allow me to make the decision after you've been yourself. But for a lot of reasons, people don't feel like they feel a little bit insecure. Not a little bit, they feel very insecure. And it makes them act out of character and it makes them, I don't know, it makes them uncomfortable, I think. And I'm so accepting. Like it's so weird because if you talk to my friends or even family members, they'll tell you like she's so accepting, she's so loving. Like I don't care, even with my clients, like I don't care what kind of life you live. Like I'm going to love you for where you're at. I'm going to serve you for where you're at. It's not about, you never have to be anything other than your authentic self. But I think what happens is in intimate relationships is they're trying to be the one to impress me. They're trying to be the one to bring something to the table. They're trying to be the one to save me from whatever. And I don't need saving. I don't need to be taken care of in certain ways. In certain ways, yes, I love attention, affection, validation. I love that. But if you don't give it to me, I'm going to give it to myself or I have other sources to get it from. Like it's not a thing, but I think with this past situation, and I'll really explain it to you to really break it down, where I really had to take my power back is I shrunk myself because this person was so intimidated with all of my accolades. I mean, I genuinely acted like myself, but I didn't mention certain things or because I'm a very open person. I'm kind of like an all in or all out. So I would go and be like, oh, I just got back from here and I could just got back from traveling here and I just got back from traveling there. And next week I'm going to be here. Like I travel, I would say 2 out of the 4 weeks of every single month. Traveling for me, vacationing for, and not just for work. Sometimes it's a vacation, sometimes it's for work, sometimes it's a mixture of both because I speak at a lot of conferences and that's just my lifestyle. I'm literally a nomad. My daughter is in high school. She's going into 11th grade actually next week. And I would take her with me before. And even now, it's kind of like we're very plugged into our community here. So I try to have some sense of routine. But honestly, if she didn't have a lot of those things and I didn't have a lot of things in the community, I would be gone the majority of the time. That's just my personality. That's how I desire to live. I know some people want the white picket fence and they want like a big house and a big yard and a dog and a farm and a thing. And that for me, I've had it before and it is the antithesis. It's the opposite of what I want. So I love a traveling lifestyle. I love exploring new areas, new countries, new cultures, all the things. But I feel like when I connect myself with someone and they're in that place of wanting to provide something for me, they don't see a space. They don't see a space. And so that can actually turn into them becoming very abusive and or manipulative and or feeling like they want to have that level of control again. And so I had to really think about this when it came down to taking my power back, which is what we're getting into. I had to name the abuse. I was like, what kind of individuals am I really like seeing a pattern with? And it is narcissists, number one. And then number two, like manipulators. If they don't feel a sense of control, like they can provide anything, they will try to dim my light. They will try to make me feel insecure about the things that I have. And they'll try to get me to really like them, love them, care about them, all the things. And then they'll pull away. There's this push pull thing that keeps going on. And I'm like, what the heck is this? Because I'm a very routine person. So the push pull thing, I don't even know what it's called when it comes to dating and relationships where they pay a lot of attention to you and they're really all in and then they pull back. As soon as they see that you're matching that energy, they just want to know that they got you and then they pull back. And I'm pretty sure if I called my dating mentor on this podcast again, he would be able to name it. Like, I'm not a dating expert. For me, this is me talking. I'm not a dating expert. I am a relationship expert. This dating thing is weird.com.org. Like, I don't understand it. But I had to really identify and name the abuse. And the abuse was narcissism. The abuse was manipulation. I actually had, and I'm looking over at the book right now, one of the guys that I was dating gave me this book on dark manipulation and narcissists and all this. And he actually did the things that were in the book. I thought that was the weirdest thing, but I also take everything as a sign. So I'm like, okay, I probably need to finish the book because I started to read it, but he was literally doing some of the tactics, these manipulation tactics that are in the book. He was like, I know you like to read, so I got you this book. And then he literally did the things in the book. And I was like, what? Was he trying to protect me? Like, I don't know. But anyway, so I have to identify and name the abuse. So I think what you need to realize being in a PMDD relationship is PMDD does not excuse you being verbally or physically abusive in your relationship. So you need to acknowledge patterns of emotional, verbal, and psychological abuse. Now, I will say mine is the emotional, the verbal, and the psychological. That psychological is that push and pull. The reason why is because when I'm in PMDD, I'm already a little bit confused. Like I'm already like, what's going on? And so I feel like I've had to come to this place of like, I'm overthinking things. If I notice my anxiety is getting really high, I'm like, are we good? Are we not good? Like there's always, I'm on edge. I have had to pull back from that and just really use this mantra. This is what's really helped me. When you notice that you're experiencing abuse, verbal or physical abuse, and you want to take your power back, you have to name it. You have to name the behavior that is abusive and be really honest with yourself. Well, this is the partner that has PMDD and the partner that doesn't. Be really honest with yourself. Because you know, if somebody else was telling you that they were treated like this, like you would have an opinion about it. So I don't want you to feel like because it's your person or who you proclaim to be your person that you can't call, what do they say? Call a spade, right? You stonewalling me, meaning you're shutting down on me when you know that I need emotional connection. Stonewalling. If you're listening to this episode and you're thinking to yourself, Dr. Rose, my partner and I need these tools in our PMDD relationship. We need them customized to exactly what's going on. We're in that place where we're stressed, we're arguing, we're in that same cycle again and again and again, and we don't know what to do. We've tried so many things. We've tried to do it on our own. I don't want to continue another month, another cycle, going through premenstrual dysphoric disorder and having these fights and arguments. Honestly, I don't even know if we're going to make it. So if you're in this place and you're listening to this episode and everything that I'm saying is really resonating with you and you know that you need the private session for the month of July, I am going to be launching a series called PMDD Freedom. If you use the code PMDD Freedom, you will get $100 off of my private sessions. Use the code PMDD Freedom. Go to inlovewithpmdd.com, put that coupon code in. You're going to get $100 off of the private sessions only for the month of July. I am announcing it right now, so feel free to go book up on the calendar. I am only doing this for the month of July of 2025. So I'll see you in our private sessions. We got this. You making me feel less of a person is minimizing me, is manipulating me, lying to me, you being like super secretive and then being super open and blah blah. Like that's manipulative. You're doing it for your own purpose. And it really does make you feel a little bit, not a little bit, a lot insecure. You feel insecure about yourself because you're all over the place. Even the most confident person, you start to mess with them psychologically and they're going to be off their game. They're going to be off their rocker. They're going to be like, what's going on? They're going to feel like they're not as their self-worth is going to go down. They're not going to be as confident because they're going to be like, how did I get myself in this place? How am I accepting this behavior? You know, you're going to feel really shameful about it. And you're going to just feel like you're living in a land of chaos and confusion. And the mantra that I had to use when I noticed that there was verbal, emotional, and psychological abuse, which I've dealt with a lot, because I feel like I am a good person and people see that and they want to like maybe tear that down a little bit. So it seems like we're a little bit more even. I think that's what the goal is. The goal is making it seem like I don't have more than they have. So then they feel better about themselves because I'm not a mirror of what they haven't accomplished. Like I never tell someone, oh, I have this, you should have this. But I feel like you can sometimes be a mirror to your partner and make them feel inferior just by your existence. And I really hated that because I didn't want to feel like when I was going into the dating world that I had to match every accolade. Like I didn't want like think about the pool right now. the dating pool. I would be like, oh, I can only be in a relationship with another person who's a doctor, or I can only be with another person that's a single parent, or I can only be with someone who has a dog, or I can only be with someone who's an entrepreneur, or I can only be with someone who's been in their career and could travel whenever they want. Like it would be very hard to meet someone that mirrors everything that I have. And that's not a requirement for me. That's my journey. And it has not come easy. And it's just the way my life has worked out. And I think even without me asking for these things, there's almost this underlying expectation of like, oh, you must want this. This is what happened with the latest person that I was dating. They're like, you must want to get married. Like you've been married before, you're of a certain age. I'm turning 40 in November, and they're younger. And so they're kind of like, oh, you want to get married? And I'm like, well, I mean, someday. But that was not even a concern of mine. That wasn't even on my radar. I'm not ready for that. I just wanted, like, what did I say? A companion? Yeah. Like I'm not there yet. I think when you come out of a marriage, like even if you're ready to date, you're ready to connect yourself with someone, like you need to take some time. Because a lot of times when you start dating, a lot of the things that you need to work on come out in those relationships. And so I was just embracing that. I was just embracing, okay, what do I like? What do I need for this stage of my life? And I was great. But there was this level of expectation that they felt, this insecurity that they felt, and they started to do a lot of the psychological abuse. I don't think it was conscious. I think it was subconscious. Like I think they were just trying to feel like they were the man or feel like they were a little bit like on my level. And hearing about my life and my schedule and my travels and seeing pictures, like I am also an oversharer. So like if I'm in connection with you, like I'm sending you selfies of where I am on the beaches of wherever. I'm saying, like I do it not to brag, not to boast, but just for you to share my joy. Because I have so much joy when I'm traveling, but I feel like that's a trigger for some people. And then I also feel like for me, it's hard for me to pull back from that because I'm just like, dang, why am I with someone that I can't really share, that aspect of my life with? So now I've gotten to the point where it's like I kind of do have to vet and filter out a person's capabilities to live a life in alignment with mine, which I didn't want to do that because I didn't want to cancel out people because they're not where I'm at. I don't need them to be where I'm at. I don't need them to maintain me being where I'm at, but I get that it's a thing. And I had to name the psychological abuse. Like they broke up with me in like this weird text. And then they got back with me and was like, okay, no, I really do love you. I really want to be with you. You're the best thing since sliced bread. And then they pulled back again, like literally days late. They started making all these plans and then they pulled back again. And I was just like, what is going on? Like, I don't understand the pull and push thing. Like, I don't understand what it was going on with them because they weren't really open about their journey about what was going on with them emotionally. But I had to call it and say, this is emotional abuse. This is psychological abuse. And verbal abuse doesn't always look like someone is yelling at you, someone's cursing at you, verbal abuse can be love bombing. And I completely got love bombed again. I'm like, golly, like I mean, granted, I don't want any of the other forms of narcissism, but I literally got love bombed again because as soon as they started to say like, oh, I love you, I care about you, and I want to make this work and let's try again, I was completely on board. I was like, oh yeah. Yeah, we can work through this. And I even comforted them. It was the weirdest thing. Like they did this Dear John breakup text with me and I immediately called them like, what? And then they're like, well, I just feel like blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh no, we can work through this. Like, this is fine. This is exactly what I did with all of my exes when I realized that they were overwhelmed with emotions. Like, I am a psychologist. I can do emotions. Like, if you're overwhelmed with emotions, like, I can help you. So that's what I told them. And then they were like, okay. And then they're like, let's go to dinner. And we have all of these things that happen that reconnected us. And then 2 days later, they're like, oh, I can't do this. I'm like, what the heck just happened? That's a form of psychological abuse. And it's the way I had to take my power back in that situation. And it was really, really hard for me. But it was very, very necessary because I literally said this, and I said this in person. I was like, listen, this is the second time you've done this, where you've kind of done this kind of like, oh, we're fine. And then you pull back and you go ghost me for like a couple of days. I said, I'm not going to tolerate this anymore. Like, this is the second time. They did it literally 2 days later. And I'm like, okay, I see the pattern here. And I had to really take my power back. And the way that I took my power back was saying this mantra, it's not my fault and I'm not responsible for someone else's cruelty. I remember that I was crying. I was literally crying because I have emotions and I'm a human. And I was crying over this I think it was the second like little dissertation looking text of like, you're an amazing person. Like, I just can't be with you. I can't give you what it is that you deserve. All these things. And I literally was crying. And he's like, don't cry. I can't talk to you if you're crying, like completely dismissing my emotions. And I'm like, what do you mean you can't talk to me if I'm crying? That's what you say to kids when you can't really understand what they're saying. You're like, I can't understand you till you stop crying. And so that was a sign for me that this is not safe for me. That is really what helped me take my power back, because you just showed me that when I'm in an emotional state, that you're not a safe person for me, because you're going to invalidate my feelings and tell me that I should just be strong. I am strong, but I'm also a human who has emotions and my feelings are hurt. Like, I don't understand what we're talking about here. So that's the first way that you can kind of take your power back. When you recognize that your partner is invalidating you, minimizing you, verbally, emotionally, psychologically abusing you, name it. Because I know a lot of times you're denying it. You're like, it's fine because they had a hard day, or that. No, you have to name it. You have to identify it, because you cannot heal what you don't reveal. And so the next thing that I had to do was, this is so hard for me because I am a very routine person, and I had to detach. Like I talked about on the other episodes, I had to detach from them emotionally, detach from their chaos. So you're using detachment as protection. You're not punishing them. I didn't detach. I did not answer their text messages because I was trying to punish them, because I wanted them to feel bad. I was trying to talk to them and all these things. And then they were like, this is my last message to you. Like, we were actually supposed to go on a walk that day. And then they messaged me before the walk. I was literally waking up from a nap to this breakup text. And I was like, what is going on? Like, what are you talking about? Like, I literally had an amazing day with my daughter. We went to go see Lilo and Stitch. Please go see the movie. It's amazing. Then I went to brunch with friends, and I literally woke up to this long text. And I was like, why would you send me this? And they were like, oh, I told you it's all in there. And I'm like, what? Like, like, number one, I don't like the whole text, like the breakup text over text message, but I guess that's a thing. But like, you could have talked I don't like when people make the decision to break up without having a conversation with the other person. And I say this to my private clients, like, if you're thinking because I have a private clients where they're thinking about breaking up a lot of times, but they're not telling their partner any of the thoughts that they're having. So by the time they talk to their partner, they've already made the decision. That's a trigger for me, because I'm like, you guys could have worked through that. Like, when we have private sessions and we have them together, you're actually working through the things that are going on in your brain that's making you feel like you need to break up, which is the healthy thing to do, because you're letting your partner know what's really going on in your mind, and then giving them the opportunity to tell you what's going on in their mind, and what you can do to ease their mind, and what they can do to ease your mind, and vice versa. That's called being in a relationship. But what I had to do was I had to emotionally detach from their chaos. If anything causes me chaos and confusion, I know that it needs to go. It's not from God. God is not a God of chaos and confusion. I don't want anything that's tied to chaos and confusion in my life, because I know that I have the ability to have relationships that are not chaotic and that are not confusing. But I know what that will do for my mental health. I know what that will do for my mental health. I've been in a lot of relationships where I've had chaos and confusion, and I've literally woken up like I was like on the episode of The Walking Dead. It messes with my body. It messes with my mind. It messes with my capability. I'm not able to live out my purpose. I can't do what I do. If I'm totally confused and chaotic all the time, I become a different version of myself that I don't even like. Like, it's not comfortable. I'm on edge. My cortisol levels are so high. I'm hyper vigilant. Like, that's a scam. I don't suggest that you do that. And so one thing that I really had to do when I was using detachment as a protection is I didn't match their energy. Which was again very hard for me because in my mind, I wanted to be like, you mistreated me. You ignored me. You emotionally neglected me. You led me on. You told me everything was great. So I let my guard down and then everything was not great. And then like I was like, and then you made plans with me. Like it was just a whole bunch that I just felt offended by, but I couldn't match their energy. I had to protect mine because I knew it would have taken me out of character to go be petty. Can I be petty? Yes. Can I go off? Yes. Can I make them feel horrible? Yes. I am a psychologist. I know all the tricks that you can do with someone's brain to make them feel horrible. I do not use my power for evil. That's not in my nature. But sometimes when you feel offended, it's really hard for you to not say things and do things that are below the belt to your partner when you know that you have the capability of doing it. But I know what that would have cost me. That would have cost me a lot of guilt, a lot of shame. I would have regretted it. It's not the core of who I am. I had to detach not only to protect myself from them, but to protect them from me, protect them from the version of me that could have came out when I was in that emotionally charged place. Like when I was emotionally triggered and I felt like they had offended me and they had done me wrong and all these things, I could say or do things that are out of character. I didn't want to do that. I don't want to hurt them. I don't want to leave a lasting mark on their life that they're going to have to recover from in somebody's therapy chair. Like that, I don't want to do that. So my mantra that I really used to detach and to protect the both of us because I knew that it wasn't going to work. I knew that it wasn't going to work. And it wasn't a situation where I needed to put myself back into the emotional roller coaster. And I said this the last time in person with him. I was like, this is the second time that this has happened. This cannot happen again. Promise me that this is not going to happen again. They promised me, and then it literally happened 2 days later. Whether it was conscious or subconscious, I'm like, oh, okay, buddy. Like I'm not about to do this. And so I can love and care about a person from a distance and protect my peace. That was the mantra that I used for my detachment. I can care about them and love them from a distance. I even prayed for them at church this morning. I don't hate the person. I have this mentality that a lot of things, everything that they do has everything to do with them and nothing to do with me. I was loving. I was wonderful. I was caring. I was understanding. I was forgiving. And then I had to let them go because they weren't in a place where they could receive it. A lot of times, some people may not be in a place where they can receive your love. And you don't want to get to a place where you replace your love with bitterness, resentment, and unforgiveness, and you start acting out of character and you regret it. If you're a good person, you're going to regret it. It may feel good in the moment. The flesh feels good. The ego feels good to tell them about themselves. Like I even have friends that were like, if I were you, I would have told him, don't you freaking call me. Don't blah, blah. Like I would have got on the phone and like ran them to shreds and been like, how dare you? Because when you were crying, they're like, stop crying. And then they call you crying, leaving you voicemails, and you're supposed to be so empathetic. No, I don't need to do that. Because here's the thing when it comes to detachment, giving that person space and detaching from them helps them understand their impact and what they did way more than having the conversation with them. When you're having a conversation with your partner about, or someone that you're dating about things that they did to you, they're like rolling their eyes. They're thinking you're so emotional. They're thinking you're nagging. They're thinking you're the problem. You're like, and you did this and you did that. You're blaming, you're shaming, and they're it's going in one ear and out the other. They're repelled by it. It doesn't work. It's a scam. When you give them space, the truth comes out because the truth is within them. The truth is in your energy. And when you detach from someone, they can feel that detachment. And I literally did it yesterday. I did it like strategically. I talked about the situation, which I agree you need to talk about it, right? I talked about it with my therapist. And then after that, I was like, I need to let this go. I need to shake this off. I went and I moved my body. I went on walks. I journaled. I used all the tools that I use for my private clients. And I woke up today and I felt amazing. And I woke up today and they were calling me and they were whatever. And I used the method of detachment. I am not going to go back to the same place that hurt me in order to heal me. Meaning, if I feel hurt and I need healing from that situation, why would I go back and put myself back in that same situation thinking that they're going to treat me any differently? Right. So, another thing that you really have to do when you're taking your power back is you're tracking your PMDD symptoms. So you can recognize when you're vulnerable to an emotional manipulation or gaslighting. A lot of times that I was really open to these individuals that are abusive or not good, not even abusive, but just not good for me. I was in PMDD because I wanted love, affection, attention, validation in a way that felt good to me. And I was needing it. And so I was very vulnerable to manipulation or gaslighting and love bombing. I was loving the love bombing. And a part of me was like beating myself up about, oh my gosh, I got love bombed again. I got manipulated again. I got bought up. And you know what I did to take my power back? I said, my emotions are valid. I am a human and I have emotions, but they do not make me weak or they do not make me unworthy. You know, that said a lot about the other person when they said that to me, that I shouldn't be crying. That tells me that they're an avoidant, and that tells me that they're not willing to sit with their hard emotions. And people that are avoidants, when they do have strong emotions, it's debilitating. It's horrible because they're not used to staying in that place. They just want to feel better. And so when the person was calling me today and they're like, I want to talk to you, I want to talk. Yeah, because you want me to make you feel better about a situation that you created for yourself. I'm taking my power back because that's not my responsibility. I didn't do anything to that person. In between the time that we had the interactions, one night they're like, I love you. You're my peace. You're my heart. You're the most beautiful person ever. Love bomb, all the things. Do I believe that they genuinely believe those things? Yes. But I also believe that when things got hard in their mind with whatever it is that they were going through, they took it all back. That's the thing. This is why you can't take validation from the individual that is mistreating you, right? Because when I was seeking validation, I just wanted them to say all those loving things to me. And I had to shift my focus from needing their approval as a people pleaser, and I'm trying to recover from that. And I had to start validating myself and reminding myself of who I am and what I bring to the table. And I hate saying bring to the table because I'm not like offering myself up as a sacrifice, but I know who I am and I don't need someone to tell me that I'm valuable. And so I really had to say this mantra when I took my power back. I was like, I don't need your validation to feel valuable. I didn't even say that to them. That's another way of taking your power back. You don't need to go tell them. Like sometimes you feel like I need to tell them, I need to tell them. I don't need to tell them anything. I need to tell myself that when I feel like I need to respond or I need to do this and I need to go, like I'm really big on no contact. When you've kind of made the decision that this person is not healthy for you, you need to go no contact until you're in a place where it feels safe for you again. I'm not saying you have to go no contact forever, because I know for me, once I get to a place where I've detached and I've taken my power back, then I can read your text messages and I can hear from you and I don't feel the need to go back and I don't feel the need to people please. But you have to know your weaknesses. You have to know what you're still working on. And if I know that I'm still valuing validation from the other person to feel valuable, I need to do no contact. So I just had to tell myself, I don't need the validation of this person. I don't need them to tell me I'm amazing, that I'm a good person. I already know that. And I genuinely did. I just thought it was nice to hear. But like I didn't need them to tell me that. But they were, it's kind of like when they were breaking up, they were like, you're gonna be okay. You're gonna, and I'm just like, the heck are you talking about, chicken nugget? Of course I'm going to be okay. And the biggest way that I was able to be okay was the very next morning. What you don't want to do when you're trying to take your power back when you're in these situations is to stop doing your routines. That is the biggest mistake. That's a scam. Do not do that. And so this is the whole purpose of having a routine, because it gets you back to the core of who you are. And so I got up this morning, and of course I got up earlier than I really would have gotten up on a Sunday, but I was like, that's fine. And I reclaimed my morning routine. I reclaimed it by doing my morning routine. I got up, I read my Bible, I prayed, I read a little bit of the book that I'm reading. I went and worked out. I went and took my dog on a walk. I felt better. I journaled a lot. I felt better through every phase of my morning routine because I was proud of myself. I'm like, wow, that happened yesterday. That could have broken me, but I did all of these things. I got the dopamine. The dopamine is that chemical that your brain on and your body automatically produce when you get things done. I got the endorphins from moving my body. I rewarded myself with things that made me feel better. I used music therapy that made me feel amazing. And I literally said to myself as I was doing my morning routine, like every choice that I'm making, every action that I'm taking in this routine is a step towards freedom. And what that meant was freedom from the negative emotions that I didn't want to feel that I didn't need to feel. I had felt all of the negative feelings the night before. I allowed myself to feel them. I gave myself time. I literally was like, I'm not even, because I was supposed to go out that night. So technically, this person ruined my evening. I was supposed to go out, and I could have gone out and I could have numbed it. I could have numbed my pain and not processed it. And I could have gone out and had an amazing time, but I still would have had my issue waiting for me as soon as I got back. But I said, you know what? I'm going to take this evening and I'm going to process it. I'm going to feel the feels. I'm going to cry. I'm going to release. I'm going to journal. I'm going to do whatever it is that I needed to do in order to feel better, not even good, because I didn't end up feeling good. And I went to sleep, and then I woke up and I did my routine. And so what I really had to do after I was doing my morning routine is silence the inner critic that they fed me. Write down in my journaling, write down the lies that they told me. You shouldn't cry. You deserve someone so much better than me. All these things. I rewrite them with the truth. And so I had to really get back to the core of who I am. So if I was in my luteal phase, thank goodness I'm in my follicular phase. But even in my follicular phase, it made me cry. Like, I was sad. I was like, dang, that's crazy. Because I was just, and I'm proud of myself because I was really open and vulnerable to them in my last conversation with them. Because I've been in situations where I've held it in. You know how you can get in the ego and be like, I'm fine. I'm fine. I was completely honest. I was like, I'm not fine. I'm not okay. This is very disappointing. And I don't like it. Like, I think that this is not fair. I think that I didn't deserve this. I think that I gave you another chance and I'm not okay. And so I had to like tell the truth and be really honest with myself, be really authentic. And it's okay. You know that phrase, it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to not be okay. I don't want to be okay all the time. I want to have the ebbs and flows and know that I have the tools to get myself out of these hard times. And I said, I'm not too much. I'm enough. I'm amazing. I know, like when I told my friend, because I had to tell her, because I talk about, my relationships or dating all the time. And she was just like, but you're this and you're amazing and you're magical and you're sexy and you're fun and you're all of these things. I appreciate that, but I know I'm sexy. I know I'm fun. I know I'm a good person. I know I have a good heart. I know all of these things. I don't try to be those ways for anybody else except for myself. And I just try to share who I am with other people. But I mean, if they fumble the ball, that's kind of how I thought about it. I was like, if you fumble the ball, you fumble the ball. That's taking your power back. I took my power back by recognizing you lost something that would have really added value to your life. That's what I really had to come to terms with. He lost something that really would have added value to his life. And that's not for me to feel bad about. That is not for me to feel bad about because I know what I did and I know what I would have done for that person, and they no longer have access to me. So what I did is I had to practice emotional non-reactivity. And what that means is when they were sending me messages and they were like, oh, I want to talk to you again. And, I'm here for you if you want to talk. Like, it's almost like this situation where someone breaks you down and then they try to like be there to pick up the pieces. I had to take my power back because I think that they assumed that I was worse off than I was and that they were the cause of it and blah, blah, blah. I'm, and I say this because I try not to get to this point a lot of times where once I'm detached and I'm going back to my regularly scheduled program, once I'm going back to my life, you don't have control over me anymore. Do not worry. I'm not balled up in a corner crying. I'm fine. I am fine. God is my source. And luckily this happened on a Saturday night. So I went to church this morning. Like, I'm completely filled up. And they were like, I hope you're okay, sending me a message. I'm great. And yeah, I think there's this, misconception that when I started to shrink myself to make this person feel better, like they assumed that they had more control over me than they really did. You have the control that I gave you. When you decide, and this is for you, when you decide to take back your control, then they don't have any power over you. They could say whatever, they could do whatever. And I literally, I had the power to be like, I'll respond when I choose to, or if I don't want to. If I don't want to respond to your text message, if I don't want to respond to your anything, I didn't block them yet, but if I never speak to you again because of what you did, um, that's fine. Because I think when I'm able to make peace with things, it's because I know that I tried my very best. I was very open with you up until the very end. And I literally said, like, if you don't need to worry about me anymore because I gave you my heart. I gave you all of me in a sense of like what you would get in being connection with me and having access to me. And you misused it. You misused it and you abused it and you took it for granted. And you probably thought I was always going to be there coming back, getting water like I was thirsty, like a dog. Like, and no, like I'm fine. And so the next thing you can do when you really take your power back is you create invisible boundaries. If you're in a situation where you can't really leave yet, you limit what you share, you limit how you engage with them and when you respond. And you say, my silence is my power. It's not my weakness. When you remove access to you, that's you creating the boundary and taking your power back. When I gave you access to me, you took it for granted. You abused it. You gave it to me sometimes. You breadcrumbed me. You gave it to me sometimes and then you took it back. You gave it to me. You used your words, which had power over me from your love bombing. And then you used them to say, I'm going to leave you. I'm going to neglect you. I'm going to abandon you. I don't need to be with you. I'm not this person, blah, blah. Okay, then don't be with me. I honestly, I've turned down a lot of people. When I decide to put my focus and attention on individuals that I'm dating and in relationships, it's not because I don't have anybody else that I could pursue, but I'm a very loyal person. So if you're telling me that you don't want to be with me, if you're telling me that you're not sure about me, if you're telling me that you're not ready, whatever it is that you're saying, that is fine. That is completely fine. And I respect that. I just wish you would say something sooner and not do the push and pull. But I literally had to take my power back and just choose myself. And I said this mantra, I choose me, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. I'm choosing me. I'm always going to choose me. And I don't mean that in a selfish way, in a manipulative way, but I'm not going to let me deteriorate and go down because you fumbled me, because you misused me, because you abused me, because you did all of these things. I'm not going to let myself fall and not be operable. Like you can make one small decision daily that puts you first. And even if it's just saying no. So that's what I did today. And I said, and you can say no, you can say no to like to yourself. No, you don't have access to me anymore. No, like you showed me that it's not safe to be open and emotional and to give you access to me. You've lost that privilege, and that's on you. That is on you. And you're going to have to live with that. And I'm at peace with that because that was the third chance. I was like, oh my goodness, that was the third chance. I was like, wow. Because normally I don't, especially not being married, like being married, obviously, I've given a billion chances before I've let marriages go. But in a dating relationship, that was because there was like, it was very convincing. When it was good, it was really good. But obviously, that's the whole point. And then the next thing you do is when you're really taking your power back is you're surrounding yourself with a support system. You're not isolated. You feel supported. You feel seen. You feel safe. Again, I'm just like really glad that this happened on a Saturday night because Sunday this morning I went to church with my daughter. We were both serving at church today, and it just was an amazing experience being surrounded by like, oh my gosh, how was your week? Like, we love you so much. Like, you look so beautiful. Like, we love that you're here. Like, it was so much support, so much love, and it was with people that genuinely know me, see me, value me. Like, would never like they would never do anything to jeopardize being around me, having access to me, like being in my circle, like my inner circle. Like it was just like, can't I? This is why isolating yourself is so dangerous because I've done that before too, where I've been in situations where it's only been me. And so I've kind of been like, am I crazy? Am I manipulative? Am I a narcissist? Like whatever the person is saying negatively, abusive about me, I'm like, like, and you wonder if it's true if you don't have a good support system that's like, what are you talking about? You're amazing. Like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I have you in my life. Like, and they're saying it not to get anything from you. They're saying it because they genuinely mean it, not like the love bomber who says it just to get access to you and to make you feel good. This is why when it comes to love bombing, you can never really let them be the only one that's speaking life into you. When you get to a point where the only person that's speaking life into you, by speaking life, what I mean is they're giving you positive affirmations about yourself. They're telling you that you're amazing, that you're beautiful, that you're smart, all these things. When you only have that one person doing it, all of the power is in their hands. And if they decide, so basically they could decide one moment that you're the best thing since sliced bread. Oh my gosh, you're the love of my life. You're my rock. You're everything. And the next moment they can say you're a piece of crap and you're going to believe both because they're the only ones that are speaking life into you. You need to have people that are close to you that are really talking to you. And this is a lot of times what I do with my private clients when they're telling me things that, their partner is saying, and it's really like the antithesis. I have to remind them. Like, that's what I'm there for. I'm to remind them the core of who they are. But like, wait a minute, aren't you working on yourself in this way? Or aren't you doing this? Or aren't you going back to school? Or aren't you serving in this way? Like, aren't you an amazing mom? Like, aren't you that? Like, I have to do that because a lot of times when you're solely, depending on your partner, they have the power to tell you that you're amazing and give you that validation, or show you that you're amazing and give you that validation. And they also have the power to take it back. And so I hope this episode really helped you to learn how to take your power back just the same way that I had to do. I go through a lot of the things that I'm teaching you in real time. And I want to say on the other side of it, and I will literally say this with confidence. I wasn't even supposed to record this episode today, but I feel amazing for someone that's just been dumped. Like, I guess I can say that. Yeah, I've been dumped and I feel amazing. And not because I don't miss the person, not because I don't miss the version of us that we were, not because of any of that. I feel amazing because I was able to take my power back and I know who I am. And I know that there are amazing things and people and experiences and adventures in my future. And I don't feel like anything is a coincidence. So I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful for the journey that I went on with this person. And they taught me so much about myself and about how to help you even more and how to take my power back. Like, every single time I go through something, I turn my pain into my purpose. And I never have any regrets because I always, 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 always lead with love and good vibes only. So if this is something that you're going through where you're feeling like I'm in this really hard situation, Dr. Rose, and I really just need to learn how to take my power back because I'm in this really deep, dark place that I was literally in just last night, and you want to just go through it. Remember, I went through all of this just in a day. I'm not saying that I'm not going to have the next week when I go through my routines and miss the person. Obviously, they were in my day-to-day routine, but I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be better than okay. I'm going to be amazing. And I'm not going to be amazing because I had to wait for them to tell me that I'm amazing or become the source of me being amazing. I'm going to be amazing because of everything that I'm able to do for myself and the tools that I give to you. So until next time, we got this. I love you. I hope these PMDD trauma transformational tools in this episode today helped you and your PMDD partner. If you're listening to this and you know that you need help further, you need customized PMDD relationship advice, go to inlovewithpmdd.com, get those counseling sessions. And until next episode, we got this. I love you.